Chapter 3: Weather and Climate. Weather, Climate and I. Weather and climate have a direct bearing on our lifestyle. They determine what we eat and how we eat, what clothes we wear, and what type of houses we build. They also determine what we grow in our fields. Weather. The atmosphere changes from time to time. It is cooler in the morning and warmer in the afternoon. You can see the change in the atmosphere almost every hour. The atmospheric changes that occur over a short period of time are called weather. Sometimes the weather changes very suddenly. It may be warm at one time, and in a short while it may start to rain. Sometimes the wind starts to blow. These changes take place from day to day and hour to hour. The weather indicates whether it is sunny or cloudy, rainy or windy, cold or hot at a particular point of time. Climate. It is rainy in the monsoon season and windy in the autumn season. It is hot in the summer season and cold in the winter season. This shows the aggregate of the weather over a long period of time. This aggregate is called climate. A day may not be as cold as other days in winter, but on an average the climate is cold. It does not rain every day in the rainy season. Thus, the condition of the atmosphere at one point of time is weather, while the aggregate of it over a long period of time is called climate. In India, the three main seasons are winter, summer, and rainy. As the monsoon plays an important role, India is said to have a monsoon type of climate. The climate of a place influences the lifestyle of people living there, such as clothing, eating habits, occupations, etc. Several factors influence the climate. Factors influencing the climate. Following are the factors which influence the climate of a place. 1. Distance from the equator. You have read that the areas around the equator receive direct sunlight, so they are hot. Similarly, the areas around the poles receive slanting sunlight, so they are cold. The nearer a place is to the equator, the hotter it is. The farther a place is from the equator, the colder it is. For example, in Asia, South India and Sri Lanka are located near the equator, so they are hot. On the other hand, Kazakhstan and Russia are located away from the equator, so they are cold. 2. Altitude above the sea level. The altitude or height of a place affects its temperature and air pressure. The air at the sea level is dense, so it absorbs more heat from the sunlight, while the air at higher places is thin, so it absorbs less heat. Therefore, mountains are colder than plains. For example, Rajasthan is hot, but Mount Abu in this state is colder because it is located at a high altitude. Similarly, hill stations like Srinagar and Darjeeling are colder than places like Delhi and Chennai. 3. Distance from the sea. Land heats up and cools down quickly. On the other hand, water takes time to heat and cool. So the land in coastal areas heats up during the day and cools down at night quickly. In comparison, the sea water takes time to heat up in the day, but it stays warm for long at night also. This heats up or cools down the air. The hot air is light, so it rises up. It creates a low pressure area. When the land heats up quickly during the day, the air over it becomes warm and rises up. To fill this gap, the air rushes from the sea, which is still cool. This trend reverses at night. The air over the sea is hot, so it rises, creating low pressure area, so the air from the land rushes to the sea area. This phenomenon results in winds in the coastal areas. These winds are called breezes. These winds from the sea and the land are called sea breezes and land breezes respectively. If you go near the sea coast, you will find the wind blowing all the time. The tides occur in the sea owing to these breezes. These breezes moderate the climate near the sea. This is the reason that Kolkata, Chennai, and Mumbai have a moderate climate because they are located near the sea coast. The places located away from the sea have no such effect, so they have an extreme climate. So, Delhi and Chandigarh have an extreme climate. Extreme climate means that it is either too cold or too hot there. Know it. When the air moves over a water body, it picks up some moisture, water. The amount of moisture present in the air is called humidity. The monsoon winds bring rain to India as they have come from over the Indian Ocean. 4. Direction of winds. If the wind blows from a cold place, it cools, and when it blows from a hot place, it heats. Similarly, the wind coming from the sea is moist and brings rainfall. On the other hand, the wind from a dry area dries the area. This is the reason that Loo, which blows from dry and warm areas, dries and heats up the northern plains of our country. The monsoon winds blow from the sea and bring rainfall. 5. Location of mountain ranges. The mountain range at a place too influences the climate of a place. Icy winds blow in Central Asia, but the Himalayas do not allow them to cross over to India. So India is not as cold as Tibet. On the other hand, the Himalayas check the monsoon winds from going over to Central Asia, and this brings rainfall to India. Climatic zones. You have read in this book that there are 3 heat zones in the world. They are also called the climatic zones as they determine the climate of the world. 1. Torrid zone. The very hot zone is called torrid zone. This area receives direct sunlight from the sun, so it remains hot throughout the year. 2. Frigid zone. The very cold zone is called frigid zone. There are 2 frigid zones called North Frigid Zone and South Frigid Zone. As sunlight is very slanting here, this area remains almost frozen throughout the year. 3. Temperate zone. The moderate zone is called temperate zone. There are 2 temperate zones called North Temperate Zone and South Temperate Zone. This area is neither too hot nor too cold, as the sunlight is slightly slanting in this area. Weather forecast. If we know the coming weather, we can get ready for this. For example, if you know that it will rain today, you can carry a raincoat. Predicting the weather is called weather forecast. It is carried by almost all newspapers and news channels. Know it. The science of weather forecasting is called meteorology, and the people who do this are called meteorologists. Some people call them weathermen. There is a meteorological department in each district. It forecasts the weather for the next few days. A weather forecast is made with the help of satellites. It includes such information as climate, temperature, speed of wind, cloudy or sunny, humidity, etc. Important terms. Weather. The condition of atmosphere over a short period of time. Climate. The average weather conditions over a long period of time. Altitude. Height above the sea level. Breeze. The wind blowing from and to the sea. Humidity. The amount of moisture in the air. Climatic zone, a heat zone. Meteorology, the branch of science which studies atmosphere and weather forecast. Important facts. The changes occurring in the atmosphere over a short period of time are called weather. The aggregate of weather over a long period of time is called climate. India is said to have a monsoon type of climate. Many factors influence the climate, such as distance from the equator, altitude above the sea level, distance from the sea, direction of winds, location of mountain ranges, etc. The earth is divided into three main climatic zones: torrid zone, frigid zone, and temperate zone. A weather forecast tells us the climatic conditions